Welcome back. Now, tonight we have the return of one of our favourite segments, travel. Here are a few hints to which country we will be exploring tonight. This country invented the 365 days a year calendar. It is home to one of the world's largest dams and the longest river in the world. The first to form a paper and toothpaste was invented here. Interesting. And lastly, it is the home to the largest city in Africa and one of the most populated cities in the world. Yes, tonight we are exploring Egypt. Joining us is none other than our very own travel expert, the Chief Marketing Officer of Halal Booking. A very warm welcome to Ufuk Seçkin. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
Long time no see.
Yes, I know.
Where have you been?
Lots of places. I was in the Maldives for 2 weeks, in Turkey in between, and then, just came back from Antalya this week as well.
Just traveling, just coasting around the world, no problem. But we're talking about Egypt today. Let's forget all of that. Let's go to Egypt. I love Egypt. And I have been once to Hurghada.
Hurghada. Well, I haven't been to Hurghada, but you know, it's one of the popular destinations.
And it's next to the Red Sea, isn't it? And it's stunning, stunning oceans. But what would you consider a must for anybody who's traveling there?
I mean, obviously, if you go to Egypt, a lot of people fly to Sharm el-Sheikh, Hurghada, etc., which isn't fine if you want to do beach holidays and just relax. But if you want to see the true history, the culture of the country, then you need to go to places like Cairo, Alexandria. Obviously, you would like to probably see the Valley of the Kings in Luxor, and you know those are the places I would recommend. The Nile tour. So and you know, even if you just go to Cairo on its own, there's plenty to see, plenty to discover. So
I feel like it's like a little bit of everything for everyone to do. Like if you want to do snorkeling.
It's a big country. It's a historical country. You know, the ancient pharaohs. You know, the Egyptians. There's so much to see. You know, the pyramids, the mosques, Islamic history. That was what I was going to ask. Like, what historical sites would you recommend in particular? I mean, if you start in Cairo, so I would obviously, you want to see the Gizeh pyramids. You know, they are actually the Gizeh pyramids are the biggest one in the world. If you look at it on its own, the biggest of the three, because they consist of three of them, is like the size of 16 Empire State Buildings in terms of the weight. The amount of stones.
Well, I'm not planning to lift them up anytime soon, so it's okay.
Yeah, and you know, it's if you stand next to them, you feel like how on earth did they build those? You know, like 3,000-4,000 years ago. You know, with all these very basic tools and just the workmanship and everything. It's just truly phenomenal. And it's just, you can't comprehend how they actually built those things. And it's very heavy. I mean, each of them are like 20 tons or even more. So those big rocks and stones, they put them in this fantastic shape, and it's standing still, and it's just amazing. So that's one of the places you want to go. And very close by is the Sphinx. You know, the Sphinx are obviously, these lion-bodied, pharaoh-faced sculptures, and they are just truly amazing. And they're like the guardians of the pyramids. So, it's a world iconic monument. And everyone wants to take pictures in front of them. And then I would go to the Egyptian Museum. I went to the old one. The new one is going to be open the end of this year, and it's gonna, host like more than 100,000 artifacts. So it's just fantastic. If you've been to the British Museum, to the Egyptian section, that's like a dwarfing. It's just nothing in comparison to the Grand Egyptian Museum, which is going to be opened. You can spend hours and hours there. I mean, I spent a whole day in the old one. I think the new one is going to be even bigger.
Does the old one house the Tutankhamun?
Yes. lots of the the treasures which they discovered inside the pyramids there now in the museum. Yeah, and then obviously I would then visit some of the mosques. So there are like in Istanbul and other places, huge mosques, historical mosques. For example, the Mosque of Muhammad Ali. It's an Ottoman mosque. It's not one of the oldest ones. It's very recent. It was built in the 19th century, but it's very beautiful. It has got these twin minarets, and they are like 270 feet high, and it's just very, very beautiful. Or if you want to see a more historical place, you go to the Al-Azhar Mosque, which used to host the university as well, which is, I think, the second oldest university in the world. And it's still, to these days, the Al-Azhar University, as we all know, is kind of the place for Islamic theology, and it's the authority basically.
Yeah, many scholars have come from there.
It's more than 1,000 years old, so it's just amazing. And then Mosque of Ibn Tulun. Mosque of Ibn Tulun is actually the oldest mosque, and is also the largest mosque in the city. So it was, I think built in 1879 or something like that. So it's, this is one of the places you want to see. And then finally, one final mosque I would mention is Mosque of Amr ibn Alas. That was actually the first mosque built in Africa. So it is truly historic. It houses, no, I mixed it up, sorry. There are other mosques which actually, I think it's called Mosque of HUSSAIN. That hosts the oldest Quran in the world. Yeah, wow. And also they say that it has got the head of Hazrat Hussein as well. So it's also a very significant place for Shia Muslims who go there in masses. So it's there are a lot of mosques you can discover in Cairo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Yeah. What places wouldn't you recommend?
Wouldn't recommend?
Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest. I only know the places which I would recommend to go.
Just don't go into the desert for too long.
Yeah, I think that's
it's
unprepared,
so hot.
Without water.
Yeah.
Especially during the summer.
Yeah.
Plus 42 degrees,
And don't swim in the River Nile.
That's the average temperature, 42 degrees.
42 degrees.
Yes.
That's in
during
the summer months. So what's the best time to go? Spring,
winter time. I went both times during winter, and I could even go swimming. So it was that warm. So it's okay.
Well, I don't know if I'd want to swim in the River Nile, but instead we could do cruises down there.
You can do cruises. They are very popular. It's also very romantic.
Yes.
Usually they take about 4 days. You fly to places like Luxor. You look at the Valley of the Kings, and then you do a Nile tour usually, and you stop at various places along the tour, and it's very highly recommendable. I did that with my wife, and it was just very relaxing, but also you see all the different historical places on the way.
Yeah. So
because you do stopovers and you go out, and then the guides are telling you all the stories about the historical place.
Of course.
Absolutely.
And what about, obviously, we have to talk about this, the cuisines. What type of cuisines
I mean, food-wise, to be honest, if you are a vegetarian, it's actually the place where they invented, I just missed the word,
I wish I could help you.
Sorry.
Is it Hammam Nashaki?
No.
Mashaki?
No. Anyway, I forgot the name.
Okay.
But they've got different type of dishes. Meat dishes, you've got vegetarian versions, fantastic desserts like Ali, it's one of my favorites. So pigeon dishes, stuffed pigeons are one of the delicatessen which they offer.
That's the hammam mashi, I believe.
I think that's the stuffed pigeon, yeah.
Pigeon.
Yes.
Pigeon.
So, that's one of the things which you would want to try. Also, they've got very
pigeon,
delicious.
I don't know if I could try stuffed pigeon though. You see them here, so many in London, that I just don't know.
Yeah, it's a delicatessen. So
it is a
yes,
yeah. Have you tried it?
I haven't, because I don't know, it wasn't offered to me.
Okay.
But you know, I've tried pigeon somewhere else, so I know it's actually quite delicious.
Like chicken, everything
similar
that's
to
unusual
chicken.
always tastes like chicken.
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah. Sorry. You were saying the other foods.
Maybe we move on for the food, because there are a few other places I want to mention.
Okay. Yeah.
So. Definitely a place where I also would recommend you to go is Alexandria.
Yeah.
So Iskandariya is actually very different from Cairo. It's more quiet. It's by the sea. It's actually when you spend like 3-4 days in Cairo, you want to go to Alexandria just to relax. But also it's also very ancient place as well, because the pyramids of Gizeh. Those are one of the 7 ancient world wonders, and it's the only surviving one. And in Alexandria, there used to be the lighthouse, which was also one of the ancient 7 world wonders. But more importantly, it has got the ancient library, and it hosted at some stage more than 100,000 manuscripts. So it was the biggest library in the world at some stage. Some people say it burned down. Some people say just over time it just lost some of its significance. But it now has got this new biblioteca, and it's one of the biggest and most modern libraries in the world. I've been there, and it's just huge. It's so big, So if you want to find a book, probably it's any book in the world, probably you will find it in the library in Alexandria.
Hopefully the computer system works well to find the right book that you want.
Yes. No, it's just amazing. I mean, when I went there, it was like 12, 13 years ago, and it was brand new back then. And it was just amazing. So definitely a place to recommend.
But at least spend maybe half a day there, just really absorbing. Because it seems like there's a lot of places where you need to take a bit of time to take in your surroundings.
You don't want to rush. You know, just take your time. Alexandria, 2-3 days, just to relax. Just spend time with this, amazing library. And there's also the Alexandria Castle, which is a very historical place as well. I think it's back from the Ottoman times. So it's there are lots of nice places to discover in Alexandria as well.
Excellent.
It's a nice train ride as well. So recommended to go by train from Cairo. It's really an experience. It's one of these older trains, and it's just
hopefully there's safety measures on it, so it's okay.
It's fine, I think that it has got this nostalgic touch as well,
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's Luxor, I believe.
Luxor, it hosts the Valley of the Kings. It has got, probably the highest number of the pharaohs which are buried there. Also an interesting fact maybe to know about the mummies. So if you unwrap the bandages of one ancient mummy, it stretches almost 1.6 kilometers.
No.
So it's just, I didn't know that as well. It's like, bandages over bandages which they used. And I mean, they perfected the techniques, of the mummization basically of the deceased, and that's why you can still find mummies which are so well preserved. I mean, they do these X-rays, and you can still, see the interior organs and everything.
Yes.
So it's, and they're like thousands of years old. So so that's a really important thing to know as well, that science and medicine was very, very advanced. I think they performed the first brain surgery as well, thousands of years ago in Egypt. So it's a place of knowledge, history, world wonders. You can do beach holidays. It has got one of the best diving places in the world as well. There's lots to do in Egypt.
Well, I mean, in Luxor, there's a temple, the Karnak.
Yes, so that's also apart from the Valley of the Kings. you also visit that place because it's massive as well. It's huge. I think we're seeing some pictures of it now as well. So that's definitely another place to visit as well when you're in Luxor. Yeah.
Why is it so important for Muslims in particular to visit Egypt? I mean, you're talking about ancient history, pre-Islamic times. Why should?
Yeah, I mean, it's played a significant role during the whole in Islamic history. So the Fatimids, it was their base basically. You've got Al-Azhar University, more than 1,000 years old, and it's the authority for Islamic theology. And you've got, you know, these amazing mosques which you can discover. So I think just because of that, as a Muslim, you would like to visit that place, especially in Cairo, and also to see how they involved, you know, the pre-Islamic history and adopted it. And it's, you know, it's an amazing place to see.
Absolutely.
You have to see it.
Afuk, it's been fantastic having you. Love your knowledge about Egypt. Now I really want to go to Egypt now.
Yes, let's go.
So we'll go.
Let's go.
But Jazakallah khair, and see you next time. See you very soon.
Inshallah, during Ramadan, I think there will be a different show. But,
we'll see you then. Take care. We'll see you soon.